Hey guys, welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Tape. This episode is a big one. We're sitting down with Dan Booker. Dan is a killer rider. We go through his kind of progress from being a junior rider on a massive bike. We talk about his first World Cups, and we also talk about kind of his fatigue and getting burnt out and a few other things that are really interesting. Also, his lack of social media. But before we move on to the episode, let's thank a few of our sponsors. Firstly, we've got our major sponsor, Canyon. Those guys have helped us out a lot over last year, kept this podcast running, and kept us creating this content. Still loving the Spectral. Been tuning in a bit on the back of our Tech Talk series, and it is just getting faster and faster. Absolutely love that bike. Super playful. Does everything I need it to. It's one of the only bikes I'd comfortably take to Medina and ride the hard stuff, but also do a 35k cross-country ride on. It is so versatile. Loving that bike. Of course, the suspension has been kept smooth and running well by NSDynamics, Australia's premium suspension service and component company. They stock brands like DVO, Ohlins, Four-Sprung, and they'll also get your forks running quicker than you. Through my workshop and helping out a few friends, we have sent a bunch of stuff up there, gets there in a day or two thanks to Ozpost, gets serviced on the day and straight back. So you're only without your bike for maybe 5 days at max. Really love their service. All the lubes and everything I've been using is from Demontec. They are killing it with their grease. Absolutely love their liquid grease, like for bearings and stuff where you can't really pack in stuff too much. The liquid grease from 2Up Bike Co and the Demontec brand, I've been absolutely loving it. So I can't get enough of that stuff. Got a fresh 100% lid from FE Sports. It's over there if you're watching the video. Super comfortable. Got the Altus, the budget model. I think it retails with 170 maybe, and super comfortable, super breathable. Absolutely love that helmet. So can't be stoked enough on that guy. Make sure you hit up FE Sports if you want to grab anything. Kit-wise, Franked Mountain Bike Apparel have been killing it. Love their jerseys. Can't wait to get a set of their new pants. They've just released a set of pants that look really, really good. They've put a bunch of R&D into them, so I can't wait to get into them, as long as my drumsticks fit in them. That's not a Frank thing. I think I've found one pair of pants that actually fit me over the years, so I can't wait to see if these do. And yeah, if they're anything like the jerseys, their quality has been going to be crazy. It's been raining a lot here in SA, and thanks to Dirt Surfer, I haven't got a bunch of mud in my eyes. So loving their Dirt Surfer's guards are just amazing. 100% recyclable, 100% recycled, and custom graphics. It's rad. Even, again, on the video, if you're watching, up there is my own custom mud guard, which will be going on the web store once I finally get it up and running again. Also, huge shout out to Crush for keeping my bike clean. Love their work, love their stuff. And again, Fist Handwear. Currently got the Fist/Dixon collab on and love it. Their stuff is so damn good. I might have a glove addiction now. I've currently got about 10 pairs of them. And yeah, the NSDynamics custom collab is sick. Crush, I need to get one of those as well. If you don't have a pair of gloves to wear every day, a different pair for a fortnight, I don't know if you're doing things right. But anyway, thanks so much for listening to me dribble about some sponsors. Plug them. If you want to support the podcast yourself, support them, buy their stuff. It is all amazing. I only work with brands that I would actually genuinely recommend. Another way to support the podcast is share it around. Tell your mates about it. Write, review, subscribe, do all those things that you do, and yeah, it'd be great. And I'm always looking for feedback. If you think my stuff is shit, let me know so I can make it better and maybe make it just a little bit less shit. But enough dribble. Grab a beer, grab water, grab wine, grab whatever makes you happy, and enjoy the podcast. Brad, easy. We'll jump straight in there. It's easy. Dan Booker, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Is this your first podcast or first kind of interview like this?
Yeah. First interview like this, first podcast. Very excited.
Yeah, sick. I'm a little bit nervous. It's always hard when it's their first podcast. I don't know what they talk like or how used to it they are, but I think it'll be sweet. Um, I guess like it's pretty hard for people to find you on socials or find out who you are. Did you want to give us a little rundown of who you are and what you kind of do?
Yeah. Um, so I'm Dan. I'm 23. Uh, really into mountain bikes. um, I've been riding for most of my life. So I think I started when I was about 7 or 8. So
Yeah, right.
started off just building some tracks with my brother up at my parents' property, which is
Yep.
in Clark. And just kept going from there.
Um, 7 or 8, was it like straight into mountain biking, like straight away?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I One of my brother's friends was super into downhill at the time, and yeah, we'd always head around to his house, and he'd always have all these cool bikes and be digging jumps in his backyard. And yeah, being young and looking at that, I was just like, whoa, it's cool. Yeah, straight into mountain biking.
Yeah, because I guess there's like a natural path of a lot of people starting out BMX and stuff like that. But I guess this generation or your generation did start with downhill. Like you had the bikes ready.
Yeah, straight into it, and then pretty much just had like BMXs and hardtails and stuff along the way. But yeah,
Yeah.
started straight into mountain bikes.
Was like racing something you were always keen on doing?
Yeah, yeah. So my brother's friend, his older brother was right into the racing as well. So I'd go and watch him at races, and yeah, I think just from an early age it was pretty inviting.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool thing to do.
Where'd you kind of grow up?
uh, so I was born in Tassie, and
Yep.
then my parents ended up going to Melbourne for work. So I
Yep.
grew up in Melbourne until I was about 6 or so, and then yeah, back to Tassie, and then just around Hobart.
Yeah, sick. What was the race scene like down in Tassie, like back in the early days?
Oh, I was super sick in the early days. It seemed like
Yeah.
yeah, downhill was pretty big down there, which was
Yeah.
cool. A bit underground,
Yeah,
so a
okay.
bit hidden from the rest of Australia, being in Tassie. But yeah, so many good riders down there. So it was a
Yeah.
really good scene.
Yeah, that's sick. How old were you when you had your first race?
I think I was 8, so
Wow.
that was at at Tolosa
Okay.
in Milwaukee, which they had a few national rounds there over the years. But yeah, that was my first race, and hit a tree in my first practice run. So I didn't quite make it through the race, but yeah, after that, just like did a few more in the rest of that series, which was good fun. A few little tracks around Hobart.
Yeah. How do you find a bike that fits you and that you can race at 8? Like there
Definitely.
weren't those little ones like we have nowadays. Like you would have had.
Nah, I was on a medium Norco Rampage, so it
Yeah.
was
Okay.
huge for me.
Sick.
Some funny old photos getting around. Just yeah, huge bike. But I don't know, so I just made it work back
Yeah.
then.
Do you think that kind of helped you ride, like being on a bigger bike and a hardtail at 8 and racing?
I think so, yeah. I think um, everyone should start out on a hardtail.
Mm.
But yeah, I definitely reckon it helped out.
Mm. I agree. Like, yeah, there's certain things to riding a dual suspension you got to learn, but like the riding technique you get from a hardtail is so much better for you.
For sure.
Were you kind of up the pointy end like straight away, or?
Nah, not at all. So
Okay.
I was racing the hardtail category. So
Yep.
the 8, 9-year-old me versus like some guys in their early 20s. So no, I just got smoked. It was awesome.
And that didn't like deter you or anything, or were you just so stoked on riding and racing that you just kept going?
I just loved it. And then just being at the races with all the crew too, and yeah, it's just such a good scene.
Mm. It would have been a good spot for growing up and being around like the community.
Yeah. And yeah, just getting shuttles like is such a different thing. So
yeah, sick. Like you started off real early and you obviously enjoyed the sport and riding and stuff, but were you ever like after trying to end up where you are now, like at the pointy end of the country? Like was that a goal of yours to end up like a pro or semi-pro?
I think so. Yeah. So it's always I think when you're young you're always like, oh, it'd be so cool to be like such a like top dude. But I was not like fixated on it, but I suppose it's always like a goal.
Yeah. Because that's quite healthy, right? Like you can want to be that pro and work so hard to it, but then it ruins your riding or when you don't hit that spot. Like
Yeah,
I mean, it's 0.1% or something like that to make it to the top.
Yeah, and I definitely had a phase where I went overseas and did a few World Cups, and then just I was trying to ride a lot faster than I could.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of guys that go and do World Cups as juniors seem to do. They just want to be like the best while they're over there. It seems super exciting, and had a bunch of crashes overseas, and when I got back home, I was a bit burnt out from racing.
Yeah, okay.
And so I would have been like 17 probably when it happened, and I didn't really do that much racing for a couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
But, slowed down and just rode, which is cool. And it's pretty funny actually. Just like stop racing all of a sudden after doing it for so many years, and because I was training super hard before I went overseas, and then I sort of just like was a bit burnt when I got back, and I broke my back when I was in Andorra.
Yeah, so right.
Using that when I was home, so just was a bit of a forced rest. And then,
I think if there was a track I don't want to crash on the most, it's Andorra, like by far.
That track in person is so much steeper.
When
you get there in person, you're like, holy.
What was it? A few things I want to touch on for that, but what was it like going from Tassie? I mean, you guys have pretty gnarly steep tracks, but probably some of the better ones in Australia. But like, what was it like going over to Europe for the first time at 16? Like, that's daunting enough, and then you're faced with Andorra and those tracks.
Yeah, it's a different experience, and just like the whole World Cup scene, everyone's just like so fast. So you get over there and you're like watching practice, and you're seeing everyone just like pushing it. It's pretty, definitely raises your level of riding a bit while you're over there. But amazing experience though. Do
you think like watching those guys and seeing where the pros are at, do you think that kind of made you ride above your limits and maybe made you kind of want to rush things a little bit, I guess is the best way to put it?
Yeah. And just the speed of the tracks as well. It's just like so different to anything that we had in Tassie.
Yeah, okay.
So we seem to have, and especially back then, there wasn't like Medina wasn't there, and you didn't have those like proper mountain bike parks. So we were just riding like a bunch of like walking tracks and that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could only ride like Glenorchy was probably the closest thing we had back then. But you could only shuttle that at races and that sort of thing. So it was a bit of a step up going from like tight walking tracks to like wide open steep World Cup track.
I know like Troy and Connor from being from around here in Adelaide, and when I've talked to them, like the biggest difference for them was they went from trying to generate speed to try and control speed. Like it's so fast and steep over there. So what kind of happened like in Andorra? You mentioned you broke your back. How'd that kind of happen, and what was that like for you?
Oh, that was a bit of an experience. I think it was my last practice run before qualies, and there'd just been a huge rainstorm, and yeah, people were just like struggling to get down it, let alone trying to ride it quick. And I just made like a little mistake and pushed the front and clipped a tree, but then I just went over the bars off a drop, and yeah, it was yeah, I just landed with my back on a rock and sort of folded it around. And yeah, as soon as I hit the ground, I was like, oh no, like this feels different. Like I know something's wrong. At first I thought I'd like busted my hip or something.
Okay.
It's like swelled up straight away. And yeah, it was a bit sketchy after that because I was in the middle of the track and these two marshals that couldn't really speak that much English were coming over and they were like, oh, I got to get you off the track. And I was like, don't move me. Like,
yeah.
Something wrong, like don't move me. And but I just couldn't get that through to them. So they just like lifted me up off the track and I passed out. It was so painful. Like, yeah, so they just like dragged me off the track. And
that's so bad.
Yeah. Then after that, yeah, they were just talking, heard them say they were gonna bring a helicopter in. So yeah, they got the helicopter underway and brought it in and winched me out.
That's crazy, man. Like I can't. It always blows me away that it seems like Euro races are kind of like that. They're kind of a bit Rambo-ish, and like the marshals don't really know what's going on. Like you kind of saw that with like Brooke still to this day, like his crash as well.
Yeah.
Like if there's someone with a bad back on the track, don't move them. It's like simple. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like the last thing that should be doing, but yeah, just got hoisted off there.
What's it like being a 16 or 17-year-old like teenager, like first time overseas, and you're laid on the track with like foreign language and you don't really know what's going on? Like that's got to be pretty hectic as well on your mental state.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I think first and foremost you're just thinking about your body and like what you've done to it. So, but then everything's happening so fast when especially understand what's being said, you're sort of like trying to work out what's going on. And a bit of pretty scary stuff.
It
was a funny one actually because the hospital was so close, they didn't actually get me up into the helicopter. They sort of just like dangled me below the whole time and then so got a bit of a view out the side of the stretcher while I was getting dangled to the hospital.
That's hectic. That's so good.
Yeah, once I got to the hospital, they actually I had a bunch of x-rays and CTs and they completely missed it. So then they were just like, oh, it's just bruising, you'll be fine.
That's sick.
I was like, thought I was carrying on a bit. And so I was like back at the accommodation with like the rest of the team and sort of trying to watch all the racing and walking around. But every now and then I'd move in a certain way and it'd just be so painful. But so yeah, I was like watching the racing, walking around, went to the after party, and then it wasn't until I got back to Australia I was just started going about my day-to-day life again, and I was like, oh, this isn't right. So when I re-x-rayed, and they were like, yeah, you've fractured like L1, 2 and 3. So
was it like a proper like through the vertebrae, or was it just the wings, or
just the wings? Yeah,
because they're super painful. Hey,
and slipped a disc as well. So
okay,
pretty nasty stuff. Wouldn't recommend it.
No, don't break your back. It's pretty common advice. Who were you riding for, and what team were you on, and when you were over there? Was it more of a privateer thing?
Privateer. So I was just traveling with the Aussie team, and was just getting some help from a bike shop back home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was on the Aussie team at the time?
That was, who did we have? It was Harry Bush,
Mm-hmm.
Willis, Jackson Frew, and then Andy Crimmins. Um, who else? Yeah, yeah, it's a good crew. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a pretty wild bunch. Like,
yeah, it was a fun. Yeah.
was it? So after you kind of got back, you said you were fairly burnt out from like the whole process and like your back's wrecked and stuff. How was the kind of rehab, and I guess you've got a lot of mental rehab, back rehab and stuff. What was the process like?
Yeah. I definitely did like a lot of physio work when I got home, and just wanted to sort that stuff out. Is a pretty important thing. Having
Yeah.
spent a lot of time doing that. But then I think I was just a bit gutted.
Mm.
So I was like, you sort of have all these expectations on yourself when you're going over there. I was putting a bit too much pressure on myself to do well, rather than actually focusing on riding well. I was like more result focused. And so yeah, I think I was just a bit gutted and sort of lost a bit of confidence.
Yeah, okay.
I think because I feel like I was like trying to ride quicker than I could.
Mm.
But yeah, you sort of get a bit of a doubt from that if it's not paying off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Like you kind of see it all the time with people that they're fast in their home state or in their home series, and then they go and get a quick realization, and it seems like it's almost easier to pack up the tools and do something else than it is to kind of work harder and get at it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just sort of started killing the fun a bit as well.
Mm.
Where and but yeah, it was pretty refreshing to sort of just start doing it for fun again,
Yeah.
not focus on the racing.
Was the bike just put in the shed for a few months and you kind of focused on other things?
Yeah. So definitely didn't ride as much. First thing I did was took the clip pedals off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And put flats back on, which is sick. And just got into some other things. I actually got into cars for a bit.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Sick.
Yeah. Looking back on it, it seems like a bit of a waste of time now, but at the time I was loving it.
Yeah.
Tinkering with them, that sort
You
of thing.
can't find a bigger money pit than a car. Like,
Ridiculous. And time as well. Time and money, it's all the things.
yeah. What did you have at the time? Like, what were you kind of getting into?
I had a bunch of mates that were into their drifting. So
Okay.
I was had a few drift cars. I loved like old Toyotas, and then I'd put like some like big engines in it.
Yeah, sick.
So yeah, good skills to have now, but
Yeah. Yeah, I can't.
Like driving my sketchy van around New Zealand at the moment. Just like not going to break down. Just figure it out.
Yeah, there was a period there where everyone wanted like the old K70s and stuff, like those old Corollas where they were still rear-wheel drive, and then you just put like an SR or something in there and
that's
go have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, growing up in a skate park and around the BMX crew, like everyone was kind of got into that, and it caused a lot of trouble, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, it seems like the classic Tassie mountain biker thing to do. You sort of you get your license and then you start getting into cars. So, but yeah.
And then so you went to flat pedals and you started having a bit more fun on the bike. Was there a turning point where you went from having kind of fun where you wanted to take it serious again, or are you still kind of trying to take it as fun as possible?
Definitely trying to keep it fun still. But I didn't race for quite a while, and I think the turning point was Medina, and just getting to do so much riding there while we were building. Just like riding with, it was a wild little bubble down there when we were building. Just like the trail crew had like the amount of talent in that trail crew riding was out of control.
Because you were on the original That would have been the original trail crew, so like Jai and a few others, right?
Yeah, Giant Baxter and Jacko and all that crew.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's an insane talent pool. Like
Yeah,
that's a
it's
race team just building the track. It's insane.
like progression camp.
Yeah.
Everyone was pushing each other's trail building, and then you get after work, it was just like, all right, now it's time to like push the riding.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys didn't just get burnt out from like trail building all day and then just riding all night. Like it's insane.
Yeah, definitely caught up to us by the end, but oh, so much fun. Like that's the dream really for all of us.
Oh, it would have been sick. Yeah, it would have been great to be a fly on the wall for all that.
Yeah,
Were you trail building before Medina, or
yeah.
like when did that kind of come about?
That was my first job. So
Okay.
I did a bit of work around Hobart,
Mm.
dirt art, and just to save up some money to go overseas. And then, yeah, when I got back, sort of just got back into the trail building again.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up doing a bunch of work all over Australia for dirt art.
Yeah, cool.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, dirt art seems to play like a major part in a lot of the kind of faster riders and like the guys that want to travel around. Like dirt art seem to hire a really good crew and
Yeah,
support them really well.
yeah. No, Frenchie's a legend and just like really supportive too of the racing, which is sick.
Yeah.
And yeah, he like raced heaps as a junior, so I think he just gets it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sick to see him like the way he supports his staff is amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
What was it like pulling up to Medina for the first time and seeing that big mountain and going, here you go?
It was a bit daunting, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
Like so exciting, but we knew we didn't have heaps of time to get it up and going.
Mm.
So I think in the end we had 4 or 5 months to get it operational. So yeah, we're like, all right, we're in this. But yeah, so stoked too. And then having such a big crew, it was unreal seeing how much was getting done each week.
Yeah.
Like new trails to ride every week that were there.
That's sick.
Yeah.
What type of trails did you kind of like building more? I know like Giant Baxter probably preferred like some of the jumpier trails, and I remember Frenchie told me he had to kind of reel you guys back from just building the steepest shit you could possibly find, and for you, like just sending someone down the hill straight as possible. But what was like your favorite track to build? And
I think I prefer to build like the tech trails, but in a machine.
okay,
So sort of like trying to leave it as natural as possible, and then every now and then just like build a big machine built feature.
yeah, okay,
So like test your skills in the excavator a bit,
yeah,
which is good fun. But then yeah, just love building corners too. So
sick.
yeah, King Brown was one of the favorites to build too, and like the dirt up in that zone is ridiculous. Like it's so good. So
There's at least one corner in that track, eh? I rode it like when I was down there for nationals. I think we missed it the first time we were down there because it was just raining so hard, and like we weren't used to Medina. When I went and rode it on national, like that track is so good. Like it's so techy, but yeah, as you say, like you can take those insides and get real loose and techy, or you can just hit the berms. Like it's a real good balance.
Yeah, there's heaps of ways you can ride it. It's good fun.
Is that kind of challenging for you? Like, I guess in here we have a lot of like maybe single trails, like very narrow. We don't have those big wide trails, but like I guess you guys have that freedom to build in different features for different skills. Like, was that hard for you guys to kind of do or get used to?
I don't think so. I think it was just like everyone was just so stoked on digging there to just build the sick stuff they could. It was kind of cool because everyone sort of had their own flavor. And the bike park's like pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, like it is. Like you can go down a blue trail there and axe yourself on some stuff because
Mhm.
there's so much different challenges on there for every level, which is so sick. Like that part of Maydena is what excites me more than anyone.
Yeah, for sure. And just being able to like mix and match trails as well.
Yeah,
There's so many short little ones that you can just like be bombing like a wide flow trail and then like go over the back of a turn, you're in like tight steep tech and then back
yeah.
into a trail. It's just like so exciting.
How important was that for your riding? Like, did you notice your skill level just went through the roof?
I don't think at the time I definitely didn't,
Okay.
but looking back on it, just like such a big increase.
Mm.
Yeah, riding for sure. And just being around such like a talented crew as well, you never really, because everyone was just like progressing at the same time. You sort of just thought that was natural, and then I remember we'd go to like races with the crew, and we'd just start like doing really well. Like all the trail crew guys would just started doing really really well. So it was cool.
What what's your favorite track or series of tracks there to ride?
Favorite track? That's the hardest question.
Yeah.
One I get all the time too, but just depends on the day.
Yeah, okay.
I think one of my favorites is Inferno,
Okay.
and it gets people like miss it a bit.
Mm.
It's sort of a little bit hidden, but it's such a sick track.
Yeah, okay. Did you have much to do with the Nationals flow trail? Like was that
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Nationals track. Yeah. So that was a pretty cool little project because so we had just so many different operators build it. So you just like build a section and then someone else would jump in the machine and build the next section. So I think that kept it like super interesting the whole way down. You didn't really get like one style.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely visible. Like you could tell like there was different sections that were built by different people. And you had a few like kind of junior or like beginner trail builders on that project as well, like from what I remember. Like that's got to bring a different eye to it as well, right?
Yeah. So yeah, a bunch of the guys that were working down just in the bike park came up and helped as well, which was super sweet. So no, it's good fun.
Yeah, I love that track. Like I rode it in the wet on one of the days and it was easy to roll down, but I definitely wouldn't want to race it. Like and then looking for, like you looked at that GoPro footage that everyone said it was the flow trail.
Yeah.
And then you actually rocked up there and you're like, oh, this is gonna kill someone.
Yeah, the GoPro effect. For sure.
That was so good.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like brand new track as well. It's always smooth. Like I'm not gonna go dig in braking bumps.
Yeah.
They were there like by the end of the first day of practice.
Oh,
yeah.
That track was blown by the first day of practice.
Yeah, people started getting pretty nervous, I think, by the end. It was like coming proper.
And like just the mix of terrain and track styles just made it so like diverse and interesting. Like going from some fast but greasy flow trail, then into loose roots, and then that silly rock ledge, and then you've got a 60-foot step up at the bottom. Like,
yeah.
Where do you get that?
Pretty all-rounded rider, for sure.
And you ended up like on the podium. You were second.
Yeah.
Second or third. Yeah.
Yeah, second. That was that was amazing. Just like such a crazy couple of weeks. We had the EWS qualifier and before, and then I was pretty done by the end of the 2 weeks. It was so much riding, but it was such a sick event.
Because you took the win. You were high up there you took the win at the enduro.
Yeah, I managed to win the qualifier.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What was that like? Like that looked like a heavy day on the bike. Like that looked brutal.
Yeah, some long stages in there. The top to bottom's always a big one. But and just like a mix of conditions too. Like during the race, it sort of went from like slick, greasy, and then dried out so quick, and it was almost dusty by the end of it. So trying to know what the conditions were like at the top of each stage it's sort of like hard to push it.
Yeah.
You feel it out a bit first, and then then you'll be like, all right, cool, it's grippy, or like, oh no, this one's going to be slippery.
Did that kind of like bring some more excitement to the riding for you, like finding the enduro and that style of riding?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the enduro racing definitely like brought the fun back.
Yeah, okay.
It's just you just get stressed at down races. I reckon you just like around all day, and then just get to go like do one run. Whereas it just like it feels like you're going for a bike ride, doing an enduro race. Get to hang out with all your mates and pedal around. So much more casual.
If you're fit, like definitely, I would have been in the Hurt Locker for sure.
Yeah. Oh, the first few I did, I was battling. Yeah.
Did it bring like a new feeling of riding, like the Medina bike park to you? Like being in that enduro, like trying to punch out that many runs at speed, was that like a whole different experience?
And just riding so many new tracks again. You grow up in Hobart and you just ride the same tracks all the time.
Yeah.
Going out there and just having like so many new tracks to learn.
Yeah.
Just like that was what was improving. Everyone's riding so much.
We'll move back to nationals, but like, how was your race weekend and stuff? Like, did you have to do much trail maintenance and stuff like throughout the week, or?
I tried to stay away from it a bit, so I did. I did some like long days leading up to it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then by the time I got to practice, I was just like, tools down. Like I got to race this time. Because I remember at the first national enduro we had at Medina, I was just like working all week leading up to it.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just like wanted to get everything perfect, and I was like building car parks and that sort of thing. And then I think I just did a bit too much work. I was pretty tired by the time we got to racing. So this time I was like, no, I'm just gonna have a crack. Yeah.
So you have to balance like what you want to do and what you want to do for others. It's got to be a pretty tough balance, right?
For sure. And that's the tricky thing, because everyone like cares so much about the place. Like they'll just like love it. It's like all little projects. Everyone's individual projects there pretty much.
That's actually like that's a good way to put it, and I've never really kind of I did notice that like the people that work there and maintain those trails and they're a part of that bike park, like it's their baby and their family. Like everyone really gives a shit about that place.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it so special. It's like, it's pretty amazing to have like something that big. Like everyone puts in as much as they can into it, and then that's why it's so special.
It's even the people making coffees and like they're all just putting in the effort. I can't remember how many coffees Jake said he made, but it was something stupid.
Out of control.
So you focused on the racing, and like I saw you were out there on track walk doing a bit of filming, and then you had the practice day and stuff. And I was watching during practice, and I always kept missing like you. I never realized like you went past.
Yeah.
And you had this like, I guess everyone has this natural riding style. Like it's Jackson Frew because he's trying to break every tree on the track. Like it's him because he's trying to split all the rocks. And you look at like Baxter and he's floating and flowing and jumping around and just being Baxter. But like you have this kind of Rat Boy-esque riding style of like you're not doing much. Like as weird as that sounds, like you look like you're just chilling, but then you kind of look at the tape and compare the times and stuff, and you've just pinned. Like, where'd that riding style come from? Like,
I think just like any other Aussie, you sort of just try and emulate Sam. Sam. So, and I remember he actually came down to Medina for a bit to do a bit of filming and that sort of thing, and I got to do some laps behind him, and I was just like freaking out. I was like, he's not doing anything. Like he's like not trying, but he's just like tapped. So I think, yeah, that just taught me a lot. Just
Yeah,
from like
okay.
those few runs, I was just like, maybe I'm just like doing too much.
Yeah.
So I tried to just like focus on just carrying speed everywhere I could, but trying not to like do as much.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like you definitely like, yeah, it's funny. Like you definitely see kids and people that just ride their bike way harder than what the train actually is. Like they're pumping through flat ground. Like, and
And
then
it,
you see,
yeah, that I reckon it feels like you're going faster than you are sometimes
yeah.
because you're putting in so much effort and you're doing so much. You're like, I can't push anymore.
Mm.
But actually, like doing less, less is more in a way.
Do you think that kind of goes like full circle from like your first World Cup thing?
Mm.
Like you going over there and trying so hard and right overriding, and then you've come around and followed Sam Hill, who's kind of good at riding, I guess. But yeah, like it's gone full circle, and you ended up like getting that second place to Troy, who just, I mean, you got first place. Everyone, Troy doesn't count. Like you got first place, but was that quite relieving and kind of like a full circle achievement for you?
I think so, and I think that champs race run's like the most fun race run I've ever done.
Yeah. Okay.
So sick. Just got like that full flow state.
Mm.
Yeah, it's looking back on it, it feels like I could have tried harder a bit, but at the time I was just like, this is like perfect. This is
Yeah.
balance. Like I didn't really make any mistakes, and I was just, yeah, just giggling pretty much the whole way down.
That's so sick.
Good.
But then again, if you tried harder, you could have ended
Yeah,
up like, yeah, like Baxter and just blown that first section out and
yeah.
overrode, and yeah. So finding that kind of flow, and like, do you have a process to try and get to that state like before the race, or?
I've definitely been trying to work it out, and yeah, it's a very hard to get into.
Mm.
But I think that that's another thing that I like so much about enduro is you get like
Mm.
7 goes at that each race. Whereas like
Yeah.
a race, you get like one shot, and then if you're like, oh shit, I didn't get into the rhythm right, then you got to wait like a month till the next race to try again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, right, you can like nut it out pretty quick throughout the
Yeah.
day. So yeah, I don't know. There's no real specific thing. I think I just try and like get as calm as I can,
Mm.
and then yeah, one thing I did start doing was I'd sort of like think back on like right before the race, I'd like think back on like young 9, 10-year-old me.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, man, like that kid would be blowing out if he knew that I was like at a national champs seated first about to race.
Yeah.
Just to even be in that position in the first place. And I think you just get like a bit proud in that, and then it's like a good state to be in. You're like, it doesn't. I'm just like gonna go have fun. Like this is sick, even just being here.
Yeah.
So I think that's such a good state to be in for racing. Whereas if you're like result based or anything, you sort of setting yourself up for a bit of failure. But if it's like I'm just gonna like ride as good as I can, then you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, that's a really good mindset to have. Like, it works for a lot of pros as well. I think like it's still a job, and everyone has shit days, no matter what aspect of riding you're trying to trail building, podcasting, media, whatever you're kind of doing. You still have those shit days, but yeah, it's really like sometimes you're going to get jaded by that present time. So when you think to you being like a 6 or 7-year-old on a huge Norco rampage, like racing against 22-year-olds, like that kid seeing you in full nuke proof kit, like ready to race nationals, like that progression is huge, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How did yeah, so you obviously came second, but just before nationals and the Enduro Fest, there was the release of you getting onto like a nuke proof deal and stuff. Was that kind of through Sam, or like how did that kind of come about?
So that was all came about through Sam really.
Yep.
Sam and then Dylan from SRAM as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
But it was a funny one because they sort of got in touch early on when Sam first came down, and that was right when the whole world shut down pretty much that week. So
Yep.
I sort of got back to him and said I'd be super keen to do it, and then it's sort of like, yeah, it must have been hectic over there, and like it sort of just went quiet.
Yeah.
And yeah, no one really knew what was going on. I didn't want to be hassling bike companies during a pandemic, so like, let it chill. And then yeah, I just hit them up about probably a year later. I was like, oh, you're still keen to do it? And they were like, yep, super keen. So then after that, it just like all started rolling pretty quick.
Yeah.
They sent some bikes over.
How good was it getting like your first bike from?
Oh, so
is this your first bike sponsor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
How was it?
And just like the whole process as well, just like super cool dudes to talk to, and like felt so casual and chill. So yeah, it was really, really good.
Was it something you were kind of actively seeking, like a sponsorship or something like that, or was it something that just kind of happened?
Just sort of happened. Yeah, I wasn't really searching for it. I was just more focused on riding, and yeah, so it just kept happening. So
it's pretty common like thing is like if you just ride it and let your riding and stuff do the talk, then other people will come and want to be a part of it. It's kind of, I guess, like it brings me to the other thing, but like a lot of people are on Instagram and trying to do their shreddits and get noticed that way, but you go and try and find you on Instagram and there's absolutely nothing. Like, I'd ask Baxter, how do I get in touch with Dan? Because I don't know like how. Like you're so off the grid. What's your kind of conscious choice behind that? Like,
yeah, there's a bit behind that. So I used to have social media, and used to do all the videos and that sort of thing. But I just found that I was spending a bit too much time on it, and then just like a whole lot of things, and it got to the point where I was just like, I'd just rather not have it. And yeah, a lot of different things, but a lot of it's like pretty mental health related.
Okay.
And I just think like putting that much information into your head is just going to make it's like a bit of a mess. And like seeing so many young kids as well get into it and into like all the followers and the likes, and just thinking about like how much damage that's doing in the long run for those kids. So I thought if I can sort of be a bit of a role model in that space and say that like, hey, you can like ride and race, but you don't have to do all this stuff. You don't want to, then yeah, thought may as well try and do something good.
Yeah, that's sick.
But man, there's some studies behind it. And I remember reading recently there was like a Pink Bike did a state of the sport, and there was a big section on social media, and that's got like 200 or so of the top riders in the world. And one of the questions was, do you think that social media affects, or your use of social media affects your mental health? And it was something like 48% said that it did. Which is like a huge number. I think that's like, seems pretty blasé about it, but it's like a pretty big deal.
It's like having the added pressure of a whole other race series just through your phone. Like for those guys, for sure, and for yourself. Like when you're trying to perform and you're a competitive person, like everything's going to turn into that, and then you have all this pressure just coming out of an app on your phone. Like I try to treat it as a game, like high scores and stuff like that I don't take too seriously, and it's a massive communication like device for me. Like I wouldn't be here without Instagram and social media. But Yeah, I do get where you're coming from. Like you get this anxiety or these crazy pressures just from flipping through photos.
Yeah, for sure. And just yeah, I think just so much like everything you scroll past, you sort of like takes up some space in your brain
Yeah.
because you always know if you've seen something before. So it's like
Mm.
you've that's gone somewhere, and a lot of it's like there's some really good stuff on there. Don't get me wrong, and but yeah, some of it's just crap. So
Yeah.
I think just yeah, just trying to simplify as well. And then another big part of that was I ended up with chronic fatigue.
Okay.
So and yeah, I just wanted to like simplify everything. After
Mm.
that, I'm just trying to let my body rest. So
Yeah.
big was, yeah, I stopped drinking, and then yeah, got rid of social media as well, just to try and be like completely relaxed.
Yeah. How when did you get the chronic fatigue? How that when that happened? Like
That happened at the start of 2020.
yeah, sick. Great time to get it. Yep.
Right. So it actually, yeah, I was just finding I was just getting like super burnt out, but I thought I was just being a bit lazy. So I was like trying to
Yeah.
push through it, and then I was just getting like worse and worse. And then it came to like uh, one of the EWS Continental rounds that we had at Medina. I
Yeah.
like barely got through that race. I was struggling.
Yeah, okay.
After that, I sort of was like, oh, something's not right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
What
a bit of a
like
funny diagnosis.
yeah, I was about to say what is it? Like I haven't had it. I've known people that've had it, but like how's it kind of work?
It's basically just like crazy fatigue, but it's sort of like a diagnosis that you get given when they can't really work out what's going on.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
There's no like exact symptom, exact like markers or anything for it, but there's just like symptoms, and then if they last longer than like 6 months, then the doctor's sort of just like, oh well, chronic fatigue.
Mm.
But yeah, it was a bit of a blessing in a way that the all the EWS stuff got cancelled that year for me,
Yeah.
because I was going to fly out like a week later after the continental round, and I
Yeah.
was could barely get out of bed. And then as soon as all that stuff got cancelled, I was sort of like, oh wow, like I need a rest. Like I haven't, yeah,
I think that was a good thing for a lot of riders in a way. Like they could kind of just relax and chill. Like I know I don't talk to him heaps, and we're not like the best of mates, but I definitely saw an attitude change with Conifera, like when it all kind of got shut down. Like he's been racing for 10 years, you've been racing like for 15. Like even though you're only 23 and 27 respectively, like you're already burnt out. So to have that year off is like, yeah, as Shelley Flood put it in, is it's your long service leave.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, I think it all came about from just like not understanding that I needed to rest, and I
yeah,
first like international season I'd done, so I sort of trained really hard going into like the overseas stuff,
yeah,
the EWS, and then got home, and then I was like, oh, now we got nationals in Medina in November. I'll just keep training. So then I like trained through that to November,
yeah,
and after that I was like, oh, I'll just keep training. I like trained through and just like didn't realize I had to have a break, and then it just like all came crashing down, just
yeah.
like caught up to me.
And then you've got all the mental like aspects of being on Instagram, social media, talking to people, like that takes up your brain space and your brain fatigue and it all just comes together, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just yeah.
I think that was like when I was so fatigued, like I was, yeah, struggling to get out of bed some days. You'd notice like the pull, like the strain from having apps like that, like how much energy that was actually
Mm.
taking from you. So,
Yeah,
mm,
for sure. But I do miss seeing your edits. Like
yeah, yeah,
um like like it's crazy because as I was saying before, you're so chill and so relaxed in a race run, like it looks like you're barely doing anything, but then your skills like spinning and flipping and just that side of things is so damn good as well. Like, it's crazy to see such a well-rounded rider that can do both. Like, it's like you're the Australian Cade. How's like how do you go like balance? Like, obviously you're just trying to keep things fun, and I mean, like Coots, actually, I'll give him some credit as well. Coots can shred. What's it like? Where does wanting to do that kind of stuff come into the picture of your race riding and stuff like that? Is it just to keep things fun, or is it a whole different challenge?
Just yeah, definitely keep things fun, but I just enjoy it as well, just like learning new things, because it always like is so daunting when at the start when you feel like trying to learn tricks or anything like that, and then like working it out and then trying to like master it after that, and just being able to, like certain things just casually. I just like being able to do that. So yeah,
just a casual flip on in a race one day.
Yeah, I have to.
Um,
I'm someone in an EWS yet, so maybe try and do that.
Yeah, true. I don't think anyone has.
No.
That's a very good point. I know Downhill's definitely done it, and then yeah, I can't remember who did the first in Downhill, but it definitely wasn't Chaos. I think it might have been someone else, probably Rennie or Gracia.
Oh,
but
wow.
what like do you think the thing is, like, I guess a lot of people spend time focusing on their cornering and their jumping and their riding through tech stuff and when they're training, but no one really goes out there and learns how to do a 3 or a backflip or even like a seat grab. Do you think it helps with your bike control and understanding how your bike kind of works a lot more and reflects in your racing?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Just air awareness as well, just like jumping, so important. And then, but I think just like jibbing around is like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You get so much bike control from doing that, and it's so fun too. Because you always end up just like falling over on weird angles.
Yeah.
Yourself. So I'm sure there's like something in there that's good for like avoiding crashes.
And you're doing it so slow, like it's almost impossible to get injured. Like,
oh, yeah.
it's definitely like a missed art in some places.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? I guess now, like, we've got still a bunch of uncertainty in Australia when it comes to racing and riding and stuff. But what are your kind of plans now for the future? Like, what are you kind of looking forward to doing?
I'm definitely keen to get back into some EWS stuff. Yeah, been watching all the content coming out from all the stuff going on in Europe at the moment, and yeah, just missing it. So
yeah,
I'm looking to getting back into some of that stuff. Apart from that, just planning on staying over in NZ for a bit longer. Because yeah, it's pretty chill over here, and seems like the racing starts up a bit earlier too.
Okay.
So there's some sick races coming up. There's the Dodsey Memorial Enduro down in Nelson. Cool. So go and do that, and down Nelson for a bit.
Yeah, sick.
Fun.
Are you looking forward to the EWS in Medina?
Oh yeah. No, I can't wait for that. It's just going to be so sick to like have all the world's top riders there and just like see what they think and try and get that place on the map as well.
I think it's already on the map, but I think it's going to be a hectic like 3 weeks for Australian riding, or 4 weeks, because it's like Cannonball, EWS and Nationals, like all within the same month. Like, it's just going to be this brutal.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's going to be a few international riders that come over from Medina that'll be able to do the whole experience. And I think that's going to really blow the place up.
For sure. And then having Derby as well and Nelson. So it should actually get a fair few over, hopefully.
Yeah.
Having so many races around. So
might start wrapping things up a little bit so we can both head out for the rest of our day. One, I've always got kind of 3 questions I like to end with, but what advice would you give to younger riders, say that are 8-year-olds or whatever, that are on their big oversized bikes and want to get into the racing, or people that are just trying to take it to the next step, what advice would you give them to do so?
I think just the best thing to do is to just do what's right for you. So don't try and follow someone else's plan. If that makes sense.
Mm.
I think not rushing it either, and just like making sure that your fundamentals are dialed, and just like so many, just focusing on like technique, I suppose. So you might feel like you're wasting time a bit, just like trying to ride around cones in a gravel car park. There's so much more that you can learn from doing that stuff than just like trying to push it every single time that you ride.
Slowing down often makes you go faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Like just chilling and working on those aspects for sure makes you so much faster.
Yeah.
What advice? I want to throw this one as well, but what advice would you give to someone that's feeling kind of burnt out and perhaps over it and dealing with that fatigue, or they've missed a goal and it's hit them pretty hard? Like, how did you kind of get out of those tough spots?
I'd say just don't be worried about taking a break.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, if I stop riding, I'm going to lose so much speed, or like I'm going to like how to ride. But it's just not a thing.
No.
Like, you take a break and then you go back, do like 3 runs. You're like, oh, sweet. No, I'm like, I haven't lost anything. I've probably just gained like perspective. So, it's always good to take a break, I reckon.
For sure. Yeah, that's one thing I struggle with as a bit of a workaholic with 3 kind of avenues of work. Finding that break time, I just want to be pushing it the whole time. You just want to be tapped because you think that's what's best for you.
Yeah.
But sometimes just chilling and having that break is much better.
Yeah, you just feel like energized again afterwards.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just went past your place. That sounded sick.
People love it.
Do you have any kind of regrets or anything you'd like to kind of change from what you have done, or do you think it's all been part of the learning process?
I think just like backing myself a bit more. And you always, especially with like not having social media and that sort of thing, I think I'm always like a bit worried that I'm like missing out or like not doing as much as I can. But I'm backing myself in a way that I'm just like, just go with what my morals are and just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, I don't really have too many regrets. And like, I'm pretty stoked where I am at the moment. So, everything I've done sort of like played a part to who I am and what I'm doing now. So, pretty pumped.
That's sick. Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to compromise on yourself. That's for sure. Like, just do it your way. It's definitely better. Last one's always the hardest question for a lot of people for some reason. But what kind of music do you listen to get amped or get kind of motivated to do something if you're in a bit of a down zone or something like that?
Oh, yeah, that is definitely a tricky question. I think, bit of hip hop.
Yeah, okay.
Love like a bit of like Gangsta and Method Man and that sort of thing. So
that's sick.
Yeah,
that's so like different to what I was expecting. I was half expecting like some sort of surf rock chill vibes, but yeah. What is it about that got like that's so different? That's really interesting.
I don't know. I think it's just I really like riding to it.
Yeah, okay.
So, just because I don't know, if you put something rocky on, you sort of just like smashing through everything. Whereas like it's a bit more beat to it. You sort of have to be a bit flowier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and that's
sure.
my best feeling, just flowing. So
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, that was the last answer I was expecting to come out of your mouth. That was, yeah. I get it though. Like, yeah, sometimes finding that flow and finding it is part of the music and trying to get that that flow going. And yeah, if you're listening to the wrong work, yeah, like, yeah, easy, man. Well, thanks so much for kind of coming on and taking the time out of your day to come on and do this.
Thank you.
I hope it was fun, and I can't wait to catch up for a coffee or something in the near future at Maydena. And
Yeah.
Sick.
Good. Thanks very much.
That's all right, man. Yeah, should be out very soon, so I'll let you know.
Cool.
Perfect. Thanks, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Sweet.
Cheers, man. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to that podcast. It was epic. I'm super stoked to be chatting with Dan Booker. As I said, the guy's writing style varies so much. Like, his innate ability to be so chill when he's racing, just like Rat Boy is, and then to be able to throw a backflip or do a 540 on some random dirt pile is amazing. Like, his commitment to riding is next level. You can just tell that he enjoys being a part of the sport, both trail building, like helping out people, riding. Like, he just froths on the sport, and it's so good to have people like him just promote it. Like, his general attitude is so damn good. If you want to support the podcast, as I said, just share it around with your mates. Let us know what is shit, what is good. Like, subscribe, review, do all those types of things. And again, thanks to Canyon, NSDynamics, Two Up Bike Co, FE Sports, Franked, Dirt Surfer, Crush, and Fist for helping me out, keeping me riding. And yeah, grab their stuff if you want to ride better, because it will make you ride better. I'm glad you enjoyed the episode, and can't wait to talk to you in the next one.